the club.
Hey, welcome back to another edition of the Club Cool podcast. I'm your host, Barrett Dudley, and I'm here, joined in the lodge in the Wash Media Studios by none other than Phil Battaglia. What's up, Phil?
Hey, man.
How's it going? Happy Inauguration Day.
Yeah, same.
Did you catch the flit earlier today?
I did.
Were you nervous at all?
You know, I was surprisingly not. What makes me nervous, and I left before they did any of this. I don't know if they actually are. What makes me nervous is the walk down the street.
Uh-huh. Yes. Yeah. Are they doing that?
I don't know.
Yeah. There's
They
a parade.
had the band
There's-
queued up and
right,
everything.
right. The parade's later today, right? Or was that about to happen?
I don't know.
John Legend was supposed to do something. I saw it on Chrissy Teigen's Instagram yesterday, but then he didn't pop up to do one of the songs there at the podium. So I don't know what
That would have been nice.
what he's queued up to do. But it was quite a sight. I'm a huge Lady Gaga fan.
Yeah.
Big Gaga guy. So I loved seeing her. Thought she looked great. Great voice. Nice rendition, nice classic rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. But then I gotta throw some shouts to J-Lo too, because J-Lo, she had the easier song. It's more melodic. I feel like it's easier to kind of to really, the national anthem is a tough song.
Yeah.
Many people have tried and failed miserably, notably Fergie and also possibly Roseanne, or maybe maybe Roseanne did the seventh inning stretch at the Cubs game one time. I don't know. It was bad either way. But J-Lo came out there and just belted, man. She was great. She's such a performer. She's such a dancer. She's triple threat. She's an actor. She's everything, right? And so when she gets up there and like reminds you that she also has a really, really good voice, I was just kind of like, oh shoot, that's it. It's dope.
I always question if she's lip singing.
So right, because I feel like she is at something like the Super Bowl halftime show, but there's no way they had her up there lip syncing.
Right. You wouldn't think.
No, absolutely not.
No way.
Not a chance.
Okay. Well, then she man, very, very nice.
Yes.
Did a great job.
Yeah.
A-Rod was there.
Now the turns out the husband of Kamala Harris's niece, he tried to steal the show today. Did you see this?
Was he in the Jays?
He was in the Jays. He showed up in a big flex here. He wore his Dior Jordan 1s to the inauguration.
Damn. Wow.
And at one point when Klobuchar was like emceeing or saying something and people were walking down the steps, you could just see the Jordan 1s start right behind her shoulder, right over her shoulder, just start coming down the steps.
The kids' jackets are incredible.
Yeah. So this is a whole. Yeah. There's a little screen grab of him coming down the steps. And yeah. So here's the Bobby Hundreds asked Mina Harris on Twitter, "Is Nick wearing the Dior 1s?" And her response, "Yes," shaking my head.
She's tweeting at the inauguration?
I guess so. 10:50 a.m., January 20th, 2021. One of the other, I mean, not only are people sitting there tweeting, but like the news sites, they have like Congress people, congressmen and women, like they're on the phone. They're there at the inauguration. You can hear the band going in the background. So like when they have these people dial in to chat with them, I guess they're just sitting there on their cell phones right there in the,
I don't know.
in the stands,
Maybe
in the rafters.
They forward it.
But yeah, so let's see. Nick Ajagu is the head of global partnerships at Facebook. Imagine that's a pretty lucrative gig.
Oh, the dude that was in
the dude in the Dior's, yeah, and was the founder of Barrel and Ink and Code and Canvas. I know of neither of those two things, but head of global partnerships at Facebook, that seems like a big deal. And Mina Harris is an attorney and recently released her first children's book. So whole fam just doing all sorts of creative things, and they looked great at the inauguration. Everybody looked great at the inauguration. Yeah. Another one that I wanted to call out here was Michelle Obama, who was wearing a Sergio Hudson suit. She has always been very committed to wearing American designers, specifically up-and-coming ones. So I thought that was pretty cool of her. And then all the dudes, I don't know if you noticed this or if you can even believe it, but they all wore suits.
Yeah, I believe it. Hey, not Garth.
No, not what was
He was
Garth?
in starched Wranglers.
Now Garth, I was a little surprised to see,
Yeah,
but I thought it was good.
they could have plugged in John Legend
Right there,
Garth
right
did.
there.
Yeah,
But it was good to have Garth because
yeah, he was good.
Well, and you probably don't think of Garth as like I don't know, he doesn't stand out to me as like a super liberal celebrity. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know, but I thought it was good to have him have a little country western thrown in there.
yeah, he did a good job.
You know, just kind of to cover your bases, keep the range broad.
And it was interactive. He had you sing with him.
That
Were
is
you
correct.
singing at
That's
home?
correct. I did not sing along.
What?
No, I did a little hum,
Okay.
which is what the people in the stand seem to do as
They
well.
cut to Lady Gaga during that verse, and I don't think she was muttering a word.
No. Yeah.
Nobody wanted to do that.
So the other thing you got to remember, this is all happening on January 20th on the East Coast. It's got to be cold as shit there.
Yeah. There was little flurries.
Right. So, it actually made me wonder. We got old guy Biden up there. He's got to give his big speech. Do you think he is just like gloved up in some thermals under there? Because the last thing you want to be is cold. That's the one thing you cannot be.
And when you get your mouth cold too, it's hard to, do the biggest speech of your life.
Right. So how's he tackling that?
How about Bernie? Did you see Bernie?
Bernie was wearing the meme jacket. Literally the same jacket as from the meme. So that might have been an even bigger flex than the Dior ones.
Bernie looked like he rolled right out of bed.
That's how he always looks.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, our exiting first lady, who was not there, did you see her outfit for today?
No.
Let me see if I can pull it up. But she has been known to convey messages, subtle or otherwise, through her clothing choices.
Mm-hmm.
And today, her choices said, "I'm still super rich. I'm going to be just fine."
Please pull it up.
Let's see. I'll describe it while I'm
Okay.
looking for a photo here. But she was in a Dolce & Gabbana dress, a Chanel jacket, and Louboutin heels. And then to top it all off, a $50,000 Birkin bag.
She's one of us.
She's just one of us. She's just a woman of the people. And it was, look, Melania always looks great.
Yeah.
You cannot take that away from her. And she slayed this outfit too. It was just very, it was all black, and you could just feel that this was a
somber day for the Trumps.
It was, this outfit was saying something. Randy, is our internet falling apart today?
What the fuck?
I'm having trouble doing anything here.
That's all right. We can skip her.
Yeah. Yeah. How many people are watching on YouTube anyway? Can't be more than
A lot.
Can't be more than 50,000.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, so fun stuff at the inauguration today. All glad that it went off without a hitch. The thing is, look, we just got through 4 years of the most divisive president in history, and nothing bad ever happened to him. So there's no that for me that was like, okay, so they're gonna be fine. Nothing's gonna happen.
Oh, you mean at the inauguration?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
any hijinks or any maliciousness or acts of bad faith, foul play, assassination attempts.
Hey,
You know what I mean?
don't
Like
know,
they
dude.
don't happen anymore. When was the last time there was an assassination attempt?
When was the last time people stormed the Capitol and tried to take hostages?
I know, but I'm just saying, like
These
it's
people are crazy.
Can you just imagine how hard it would be to plan
Yeah,
something
of
like
course.
this?
Yeah, totally. But
We just I just there's a thing that Shopify is through or Facebook all combined. I don't know. They're all interconnected at this point. Well, now, and this is something I've wondered, by the way, if you get targeted on Instagram or on Facebook or wherever, but then you don't click that link, but then you end up going to buy that product anyway, either online or in store, Do they know that? Can they document it? Well, the answer is yes, they can.
Ah.
In fact, they now have a way through like geolocation or whatever it may be, where if you get served on Facebook or on Instagram, and then you go in store and you shop that brand, they know.
Man.
They can track that.
Wasn't Laura looking into this? Trying her way around it?
Well, I was joking about how she'll get targeted on Instagram by stuff.
Yeah.
But then to like make herself feel better, just goes through regular internet to shop the product.
Yeah.
Doesn't do the shop now, like click the link, buy through Instagram.
Right.
They definitely, but they
know.
It counts.
They
that
know.
counts.
Yeah, they know.
Through the cookies.
That's what those cookies do.
That is what the cookies are doing.
Okay.
Yeah, just one last thing. The suits. I feel politics, truly the last bastion of like classic menswear suiting.
Must-wear suit.
Must-wear suit, no matter what. I don't think that'll ever change. And I think it truly might be the final industry where that is like the total norm.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got like big law and banking and finance where it's still like the norm, I think. But even guys that I know that are lawyers like definitely don't have to do it every day.
Right.
It's more of a thing where like if you're in a presentation or you're meeting with clients or it's an event, then you do it. But other than that, you're like down to trousers and a dress shirt, slacks and a dress shirt, something like that. So
I always wondered on The Office, why did they always have them in suits?
Great question.
Paper salesmen in suits every day?
Yeah.
I never got
salesmen definitely not in suits like that anymore.
No.
But I think would the show work the same if everybody was like in sloppy business casual?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now Andy, he just chooses to dress like that.
Yeah.
He's just a wasp through and through.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. So, all right, what do we got on the docket today? I wanted to talk about, just to kind of follow suit from Michelle Obama. I wanted to talk about some up-and-coming designers that I'm paying attention to. One of them is American, two of them are European. And then I kind of spin that off into a talk about brand lifecycle. I've recently had questions from listeners basically to give thoughts on Everlane and on Bonobos, which are two brands that we've kind of spoken about semi-regularly in the past, especially as like options for kind of that like, mid to lower price tier where you can find solid basics, that type of thing. But they've both gone through their paces, and Bonobos is owned by Walmart now. Everlane has taken on a bunch of venture capital and has been in the news for the wrong reasons at various points. And I just want to talk a little bit about brand life cycle. And then finally, we'll wrap it up with talk about some of the biggest shows of the mid to late 90s, Friends and Seinfeld.
Yes.
Which have kind of made a resurgence over the last few years as 90s trends have picked back up and are now a bit of, sources of style inspiration for the youths and for everybody. So we'll talk about how that's been interesting for guys like you and me that are very familiar with those shows, and kind of what we're seeing there as far as those trends. But first, let's take a break and hear from a sponsor. Phil, even though it's 2021, we've moved on from 2020. Things can still get dicey, still get stressful. And even in the new year, it's hard to start a new routine. But if you're one of the 34% of Americans who made a resolution to be less stressed, I've got a big fix for you, because Headspace is here to help. Headspace is your daily dose of mindfulness in the form of guided meditations in an easy-to-use app. It's one of the only meditation apps advancing the field of mindfulness and meditation through clinically validated research. What else? You need some help falling asleep? Headspace has wind-down sessions that their members swear by, and for parents, Headspace even has morning meditations you can do with your kids. Get the kid. You got to start them young with this meditation stuff.
That's right.
It's not new agey anymore. It's just flat out helpful. Everybody could benefit from it. That's my favorite thing about this app. Whatever it is that you have going on, whatever it is that you may need, whether it's just a little bit of time, a few moments to yourself to decompress, or a little bit of help falling asleep, or maybe just some new workout inspiration, Headspace has it all, man. They've got so many different things. They're backed by 25 published studies on the benefits, 600,000 five-star reviews, and over 60 million downloads. 60 million and one, including mine. Headspace makes it easy for you to build a life-changing meditation practice with mindfulness that works for you on your schedule, anytime, anywhere. You're sitting around. We're all working from home. It's easier than ever now. So I like to just right before lunch, maybe, put up the Headspace app. Pull it up. It's very, very easy. Take a few quick moments. Get on one of these short little meditations. Clear your head. Anytime that you can find, it's the right time because you deserve to feel happier. And Headspace is meditation made simple. So go to headspace.com/clubcool. That's headspace.com/clubcool for a free 1-month trial with access to Headspace's full library of meditations for every situation. This is the best deal offered right now. You get the whole library. You can check it all out, see what kind of floats your boat, what works for you, what's going to make you feel better. Best deal offered. Go to headspace.com/clubcool. Start feeling better. Start feeling less stressed. Do it today. Right now, it's very easy. Headspace.com/clubcool. Okay, Phil. Do a little brand talk first. It's been a month or two since I've highlighted a few brands that I'm really feeling right now that are kind of out of our ordinary realm of conversation. So the first one, I'll start with our American friends. This brand is called BTFL Studio. I'm not totally sure if it's supposed to be pronounced beautiful, or if
I was about to ask, what does it stand for?
Or if you just say BTFL, or if it stands for something. I'm not actually totally sure. There's a really good mix here. The brands that are a little bit more well known that I might compare it to, or might call it a blend of, is it's a little double RL. You get some of this like the kind of serape and the Native American kind of tribal inspired patchwork and design. But it's also, you get a little workwear, get a little kind of hiking element, which is more Reese Cooper. And then it also feels a little bit like, what's the other brand that I called? Oh, Bare Knuckles, which is another American brand that that feels like a mix of like streetwear, workwear, and Western. So there's all sorts of stuff. There's the really classic jackets and jeans and flannels, and then you have like kind of a little more modern stuff like super cropped, brightly colored denim jackets, very cool hoodies, super heavy cable knit fisherman sweaters. So it's just kind of all over the place. They're based out of Los Angeles. Their current collection is all 50% off right now. And the only reason that I haven't made a purchase is because I am trying to make it to next month before spending any more money on clothing. Which is something that we've been talking about in the Discord. People are doing dry January, but for shopping.
It's got to be tough for you.
Last year we talked about about my aversion to dry January, so I have not partaken this year. Are you partaking this year?
I'm not.
That's okay.
The wine game has really screwed me.
And I think my point last year about dry January is that you should do dry February. It's a shorter month, and
Right.
and it's more of, to me, February is more of the fresher start.
Mm.
January, you're still hungover from the holidays. You're still feeling, I don't know.
Yeah. And who wants to start dry January the day after New Year's Eve?
Yeah. You need a little bit more
You need a little
time.
hair of the dog that day.
Yes.
So you're screwed out of the gate.
So I like dry February in general for both of these freezes. So we'll see. I might try to do dry shopping February. No promises though.
Well, you're almost there. Have you not bought anything this month?
No. I have. That's what I'm saying. I'm looking for a little space.
Yeah.
Just making sure that
To not go crazy.
not go crazy.
Yeah.
So if I do pick up something from BTFL, it'll be at the end of this month, and then and it'll lead me in. It'll be my final purchase.
I see.
Before
Dry February. The liner jacket is really cool.
The one that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They've got a bunch of really cool stuff. And this is you can just tell by their website. It's like, it's new. It's the product offering is very limited. It's not super polished or fully fleshed out, and there's a lot of empty space, and you can just tell the difference between like a website that is, of a brand that is really humming and has been for multiple years, and one that is just kind of like bootstrapping themselves.
Right.
So give them a check out. Give them a look. Check them out. Give them a check out. And I'm looking forward to seeing their spring collection and continuing to pay attention to them. And now I've got 2 Euro brands to talk about. One is Séfr.
Séfr.
I think I'm saying that right.
Randy, look, he's got only 4 tabs open.
Now that's just on this window.
Oh, okay.
That's
the other one has what, like 85?
I've got 2 other windows.
Yeah.
Here's the one.
Look, there it is. Look at that. Madness. 2 GQ tabs I saw in that.
Yeah, it's a problem. I need to clear it up. So
when you do your next Headspace reset,
Headspace needs one for
address the tabs.
To address the tabs. That's exactly right. Yeah. To convince me it's okay, I will be able to make it back to that website should I close out the tab.
I feel you though, because you're like, am I going to forget exactly where I was at?
Yeah.
I mean, I've got some tabs up.
So Séfr is a Swedish brand, and it looks like it's kind of counterparts in our legacy in Acne Studios, but it has a little bit more of that like 70s, almost like urban cowboy kind of westernness to it. With they're styling a lot with the boots, a straighter leg, kind of stonewashed jean, and then you're seeing a lot of big collars here too. But I like the cut. But I just really, I think Séfr has found a really nice middle ground with these cuts, and that everything looks not too slim, but not all the way into like the oversized, drop shoulder, baggy, super boxy territory.
Looks intentional.
It's very intentional. Yeah. So I don't own anything from this brand, but I've looked at a lot of stuff on either Mr. Porter or Matches or maybe both, and it's definitely one that I'm here for and on, and just nothing too crazy. Great color palette, very easy to kind of to work into whatever you've already got going on. And this last one that I've got up is Sunflower, a Danish brand. And I first noticed them for specifically the denim. I think Trebien was carrying a bunch of their denim, and it's like this more current, a lot of straight leg look. Let's see, there's some denim. Give me some denim, Sunflower. But then I was also a big fan of their just kind of classic knitwear.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I've been on the hunt for this year. Is just like solid crew neck sweaters.
Yeah.
But I want a thicker gauge,
mm-hmm.
and then I don't want scratchy wool.
Yeah.
So it needs to be some type of either virgin wool or merino, or cashmere or cotton blend, and a thicker sweater. And it has been really hard to find this. I've not found anything. I didn't buy one this winter because I really couldn't find exactly what I was looking for. But this moon sweater from Sunflower is one that I've kind of been paying attention to because it looks like that thickness that I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you caught our Instagram stories last night when I was kind of asking about some stuff where it's like time to let go, or should you stash it for its next go round? And I posted about some tailored cardigans.
Yeah, what'd you get? What was the result on that?
That I still have sitting around. That one was the most split. That one was like almost 50-50, but I think it leaned towards the sell. And it's just like I still like these things, but they're very thin. They're a finer fabric than is popular right now. And for so long we were cutting our armholes high to go with like slimmer fitting button-ups and t-shirts. And so now I'll like put on a t-shirt that I think is very standard for our current era, and then I'll like grab one of those and it like doesn't fit over the sleeves.
Yeah. It's all bunched up in there.
Yes. Yeah.
I hate that.
So that's the issue there is that especially with cardigans, like we've gone towards the thicker wool, slouchier looks.
Yeah.
To accommodate our looser fitting tops. And so some of my crew neck sweaters kind of fall into that category too, where they're pretty tailored, a finer fabric, and they're not as conducive to your underlayers and pant legs that aren't pretty slim.
Yeah.
So sunflower, good option for these potentially.
What's the conversion on the
conversion
currency?
is, I think it's like to
What are those?
DKK. It's like a Danish crude up? No, a Danish
Man,
a krone.
I was gonna say, if you know that off the top of the dome, I'm impressed.
So one Danish
16
krone
cents. Okay.
gets you 16 cents.
So put in 4,000 because that's what that.
What was 4,000? A jacket?
I think that the sweatshirt was.
No.
No way. 650.
It wasn't 1,400.
1,400. 4,000. There you go.
227 for the sunflower wool moon sweater. But yeah, so that's what I'm paying attention to right now. Those are my little just like sussing them out, paying attention to where they're being carried, and if I see one of these garments on decent with a decent return policy and at a price that I'm angling for, I'll have to pick something up.
When I met Perry Farrell, or Pharrell, I don't know how you say his last name, lead singer of Jane's Addiction.
I think it's Farrell.
Yeah. He looked...
Not to be confused with Pharrell.
Okay. Identical look as these guys on the Séfr page. Same look, 100% from top to bottom. Boots, everything.
Yeah.
And he looked fucking great.
Yeah. And that makes sense. It's kind of like a more... Like we had our more modern rock star wear. It was like the Eddie Slimane, SLP, Saint Laurent Gucci stuff, right? Tight jeans, heeled Chelsea boots, leather jackets. But the one that I feel like is a little bit more, hedges a little bit more towards kind of like that 70s and 80s and classic rock is this kind of thing with like just a slightly more like West Coast Western. Boots are a little bit more Western. Jeans are slim, cut with no break, but have a little bit of room at the bottom. And then the shirts are like kind of silky and a little looser with bigger collars. And then top it off with
huge collars.
With your choice of rock star jewelry, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was he wearing a hat?
No hat.
No hat?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
He wasn't wearing a cowboy hat.
He didn't have a Nick Fouquet going on?
No.
He wasn't wearing a bean top?
No.
So looking through these brands, the ones that I just mentioned, and then thinking about the questions that I received about Bonobos and Everlane, it's really interesting because it got me thinking about when is the best time to be following and buying from a brand. And so I'll use this BTFL one as an example because in their current state, they remind me of like, and I don't mean this stylistically, but just from the stage that they're in, it feels more like John Elliott, like 2014, basically, where they are beholden to no one but themselves. They are making exclusively the products that they want. Their supply chain is like almost exclusively USA made because they don't have to make that many garments. The prices reflect that. But I bet, and obviously I can't speak to this just yet, but my guess is that the quality of those products is excellent.
Yeah. For
the price that you're paying there, and the pretty much entirely US made.
Kind of like our friends over at Uniform LA.
Yeah, exactly. Uniform is another great example where the stage that they're in right now, like the only thing that they are worried about doing is making the best possible product, offering you the best possible price, and continuing their evolution as a brand. But then we get into these middle to late stages where brands like John Elliott and Aimé are. And not only are they far more popular, so they're having to make far more products, but there's a good chance that they've taken on venture capital as well. So now they're not just worried about product and consumer and that type of stuff, but they're worried about growth of the brand. And so they need to start worrying more about margins and price points and economies of scale. And, well, we can't produce 2,000 units of this piece here for the right price, so we're going to have to move it overseas. And then you're not over there doing all the same QCs And not only that, but like you're far more worried about marketing because you have to hit growth targets. And so QC slips under, and it's like everything about a brand kind of in between like BTFL or Uniform and Ralph Lauren. That's a really tough spot to be in because you're not big enough to where you can accommodate like a massive team.
Yeah.
But you're still under that same type of pressure. Now you're not publicly traded, so you don't have a stock price to worry about. But you're worried about keeping the lights on as well as like making your business explode.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start getting more worried about when you have to start worrying more about the business than you do about the product, that's a bad spot to be in. And so to relate this to the other two brands that I mentioned, Everlane and Bonobos, Bonobos sold out 5 years ago now. They just said, okay, we're out. And Walmart bought them for several $100 million. And so Walmart at this point, look, I'm sure but there are still great people working hard at Bonobos, but they're answering to people at Walmart, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
The guys with the checkbooks and the Excel accounting spreadsheets, they're beholden to Walmart. So they don't, I guarantee you that there are not meetings with those types of people, with the number crunchers, where they're like, oh yeah, definitely, it's okay if we're not making the right margin on this piece, because what we really care about is that this is a great piece of clothing.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
No, they say, no, how many of these can we sell? And what do we have to do to get it at this margin? And that's it. And so I've heard recently from people that have gotten in some recent Bonobo stuff that the quality is just it's not up to snuff.
Do they have like store-in-store stuff at Walmart, Bonobos?
I don't think so. I think for all intents and purposes, Walmart is just like the corporate overlord.
Yeah.
And they have let Bonobos continue to operate as if Bonobos was not owned by Walmart. But of course they are. Mm-hmm. And I've not shopped Bonobos in quite a while. The last thing that I got from them was denim when I was on my big denim for boots hunt.
Yeah.
And they're okay, but they're nothing to write home about, like quality or wash or construction wise. Like they worked for what I needed them to work for, and that's the extent of like my willingness to gush about them positively. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we saw the same stuff with J. Crew, right? Like as they went through all this tumult and were laying people off and hemorrhaging money every year, like they tried to get back to basics, and really what that was is like they were started shorting quality. And Everlane is no different. Now, some of the stuff that was negative about Everlane extended far beyond product. It was about them not, respecting employees and not offering the right benefits. And when the pandemic kind of started crunching them financially, like they furloughed basically all their retail employees first. And so it's just, there was some stuff about, about lack of diversity and hiring practices and the black people and people of color being overlooked in like promotions, like all the stuff that we were very used to hearing. And so I'm not, by no means am excusing any of that behavior, but only to say it's rampant when these types of companies take on hundreds of millions of dollars in venture capital and then are focused on nothing but the growth in the bottom line.
Yeah.
Because and it's important. It's very important for all of these people and anybody that has a fledgling business to remember this type of stuff as you go forward. Is that like consumers are more aware and more conscious about that stuff than ever before. Mm-hmm. So it's very important to manage your books and make good product, and also have somebody here on top of making sure that you're not being racist, basically, and that you're including people of all walks of life and of all backgrounds and creeds and ethnicities, and that your practices in hiring and promoting and all of that are solid and good and respectable, and not like basically continuing in any type of systemic oppression. And so the thing about Everlane, it was one of those like direct to consumer, millennial focused brands, millennial targeted brands that was like, we're revolutionizing the industry.
Yeah.
Here's basics delivered at a much better price, shipped right to your door.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it started. It was, we always talk about the Warby Parker of blank.
Yeah.
They were the Warby Parker of basics. But then, like, their whole radical transparency thing, right? Here's what it costs to make this garment. Here's what we're charging you for it. And you can see exactly how much money we're making when you buy this piece of clothing. And it's like they had their little pick your price sales. They still do this when stuff goes on sale. You can pick whether you basically take like 15% off or 25% off or 30% off.
What?
Yeah. And there's this whole thing about like, if you take 10% off, we make enough money to cover this, this, and this. Take 20% off and we're only covering this. Take 30% off and we're only covering basically like the cost of the garment, but it's where we lose.
But hey, go ahead if you really need that 30% off, you bastard.
So it was really, it was very, a lot of interesting and kind of like newfangled tactics that they were coming up with, which is part of what's led to people kind of criticizing Everlane at this point as more of a marketing company than a maker of quality clothing.
Mm-hmm.
And this stuff just gets exacerbated and worse as the direct to consumer company that was like trimming all the overhead because they were just shipping the stuff directly to you. Well, now they have stores in San Francisco and Austin on South Congress. I wonder how much the rent is there. Like, right? Like now they're just operating like a regular business that's after exponential growth year over year because they got to go to a stockholder meeting and an investor meeting and like show you a graph with a line going up. And so it's not the last time that I walked into the Everlane on South Congress, I didn't walk out with anything. The clothes they're okay, but it's not some like amazing bang for your buck at this point. I have a couple of t-shirts that I like from them, and that's about as far as it goes. Like I'm not unwilling to give new product from them a shot, but the negative things that people have to say about them aren't inaccurate. And it's just a company that you can tell, like, the important thing for them right now is not making the best possible product at the best possible price for the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
It's churning out product, selling units, and making money so that they can keep growing and investors don't pull out.
I think it's so hard to find these companies that don't, when presented with that option, don't take it.
Right. Exactly. Because, right. I mean, yeah, you're a business owner.
Right.
You want to make more money. Who doesn't want to make more money?
Your goals change.
Yeah.
The more and more you grow.
And so, then we go back into the contemporary brands that we love, like John Elliott and ALD. Like, yeah, they make more product than ever overseas now. The prices continue to rise, even though the quality may actually decrease in some spots because they're not able to do the same type of quality check and the same type of consistency control and all of the above. And it's just like it. So it's that's part of why brand discovery, to bring it all back, is so fun, is because when you get in on a brand like Uniform or BTFL right now,
mm-hmm.
this is like the gold. This is the golden times for them, because what they're most focused on is like being innovative and creating cool product and like doing cool stuff, style, fashion, clothing wise.
They're trying to prove themselves.
They're trying to prove exactly. So it's honestly it's a lot worse than the music thing where you're like, I was early on this band, and now they're mainstream.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like the artists are still allowed to make the music that they want, and that doesn't really change much.
It just, the good shit probably doesn't get played as often.
Right. And maybe the artist changes with the money, but it's not so. It's like a less direct impetus to change your focus.
Lessen the quality.
Right. Like just when an artist blows up and becomes ultra popular, there's no there's not like an actual reason for them to stop making great music of great quality.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
With the clothing, there is like a reason to like cut corners and reduce your costs so that your margins go up.
Mm-hmm.
Like that type of thing. So it's just it's all very interesting, and it's a very, very tough balancing act for these brands once they do start climbing that hill and finding the growth to make it all the way to being like, you know, an all-time sustainable clothing line like
Ralph Lauren.
Like Ralph Lauren.
Yeah.
And that's why there really aren't that many others in that same sentence as Ralph Lauren. Right?
Seriously. Highest quality. Huge numbers.
A bunch of different avenues to do different things. Like they and even they struggle occasionally. I don't think they're profitable every quarter. So
yeah. But you know, he has, I guess that when you get that huge, you have these different entry levels for the lower tier.
Yeah.
Lower tier entry levels for lower tier products that aren't as made well as Double RL or Black Label, Purple Label.
Right. And I mean, I've even read that, you know, like where Polo is making their money is at the outlet.
Really?
Yeah. The stuff that's made for the outlet.
Yeah. I used to work there.
Yeah. Where they, the Double RL is a loss leader. Double RL makes no money. It's just Ralph's passion project.
Yeah. It's
where he gets to put out the stuff that he wants to make at a significant increase in quality. So, yeah. End of rant. End of spiel. For those asking about Bonobos and Everlane, just to you know, TLDR, they're fine. If they have something that you want and you think the price is right, they're worth checking out. But they are at stages where it will be unsurprising to find that the quality is lacking. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I'd be interested to hear how the Bonobos suits are these days, because they used to be pretty good, right?
Yeah, they did. I mean, I've got a Bonobos tux and a Bonobos suit, and I think very highly of both.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to see one that's purchased now. Yeah. That would be interesting.
Yeah. Well, next time I'm walking around in a shopping district and I walk by a Bonobos, I'll have to go in there and feel around on some pieces. But Bonobos is one where like I loved the tailoring, I loved the suiting that I have, but I was never a fan of the shirting. Always thought the shirting was kind of inferior quality.
I don't have any.
They started as a pants brand, right?
Yeah.
So it was like shirts was something that they added on. Pants is what they did best. The suiting was great, you know. So if any of you guys have recent experience with them, feel free to report in on the Discord, or send us a DM. Yeah.
Bonobos they had a really interesting shipping policy. The Ninja would send you, like the Bonobos Ninja, was it like really quick or something? And they made returns really easily.
The original model was that you would go into one of their guide shops.
Yeah.
Pick what you wanted. They had stuff in the same style for you to try on so you could get your size right. And then they would ship it to you for free with like 2-day shipping.
Yeah, it was quick, real quick.
Yeah, it was very quick. Yeah.
I wonder if they still do that. Surely. Walmart's got the resources to.
Maybe. Yeah. You'd think that they could pack that all up in with their kind of endeavor to compete with Amazon. Hey, speaking of Discord, which is where people are talking about like Seinfeld as inspiration, and people have asked all sorts of questions, and we're talking about shoes, and we're talking about watches.
And wine.
Wine. You can come check out. We just added a grooming channel as well.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm Hawthorne and lumened up today, baby. But yeah, we talk about all sorts of stuff. You can grab that link if you go follow us on patreon.com/clubcool. And if you would like to get our hot, fresh editorial, which by the time this podcast is out, should be up and ready to go, become a patron. It's $2 a month. Patreon.com/clubcool. Great way to support this podcast. Another great way to support the podcast, of course, is to go check out Headspace, the Headspace app, headspace.com/clubcool. Final segment for today. I just wanted to kind of acknowledge that Seinfeld, especially, and Friends to another degree, are really making waves as like, you know, sources of style inspiration. And it makes total sense, but it's interesting because these shows, which were at their height in the mid to late 90s, have really been relics style wise for the last 15 years or so, 15 to 20 years. And now that 90s like dominates the kind of the trends and the look, that our general look, it's the first time that the 90s have come back around, and the early 2000s are starting to as well. Now we look back on these shows and we're seeing them in a new light. We're seeing them in that like retro, vintage, oh man, this was so cool kind of light. And like you see a guy like Jerry in straight leg stonewashed jeans paired with all sorts of crazy Nikes, and it's like, oh yeah, that's what we're doing right about now. It's again, like to relate it to what I was kind of talking about on Instagram last night. Some stuff carries over, like the jeans and the shoes. Some stuff absolutely does not. And so you look at the cut of his shirts and how they like balloon out of and like the Levi's and the billowy sleeves. And it's like that piece of it just didn't come along for the ride, essentially. And it's just always really interesting to see kind of like what pieces are pulled back, what work. Oh, the putty 8-ball leather jacket.
I know I've seen this in some
Stussy
iteration.
Supreme.
Yeah,
definitely one of those brands has riffed on that. Absolutely. And so yeah, it's especially for like a younger generation that you know, it'd be more like they didn't necessarily grow up in the 90s. They didn't have like the kind of that as their base knowledge of fashion and style. So basically for the Gen Zers out there, where this is kind of like coming around into their collective conscious for the first time, it'd be more like early 80s, late 70s stuff coming around for the first time for us.
Yeah.
And us looking back on like Starsky and Hutch or something like that and being like, oh damn, like that's tight. Like look at those, you know, those Chelsea boots or that leather jacket or something like that. And so it's been kind of fun to watch guys and girls a little bit younger than us pick up on stuff that they see and like from the show. Because they're kind of the ones most in tune probably with the most current trends, and so they might see stuff that we don't necessarily see. I've been watching a lot of Friends recently. Mm-hmm. It's constantly rerunning on Nickelodeon, Nick at Night, so like it's kind of become the throw on cooking eating show. Very much enjoying it, by the way.
I always knew you watched a lot of Nickelodeon.
Well, that's where I watch my NFL.
Yeah,
now.
You're watching NFL game. Yeah. I'm in on that.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about that on OCC and about how great it was.
Do they have commentators like Nickelodeon?
Yeah. They're explaining the stuff for the kids on there.
All right, I'm watching the playoffs on Nickelodeon.
I don't know if they're doing it again.
What?
They should. They absolutely should. They should do at the very. How about the Nickelodeon Super Bowl? That sounds great.
Are they doing that?
I don't know. They should.
Oh my god, with like an alternate halftime show.
It's all just people getting slimed.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Aggro Crag.
Yes.
That should be on there.
They bring out the mountain to the center.
Yes.
Have somebody climbing it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
A lot of slime.
Guts.
Randy, did you watch Guts? Too young for that.
Yeah. So the style on Friends has been I've actually been more focused on the women's stuff than the men's. 90s trends are hotter for women than they are for men, just as a whole. Like plenty of 90s stuff is back for dudes too, but the women's outfits are far more like you could take whole cloth, put it on somebody now, and they look on trend or very close to it. The dude stuff is like you take one or two things, but again, we'll go back to the cut of the shirts.
Yeah,
there is some wildly like
Chandler.
That looks like it's 4 sizes too big. So that stuff is a little weird, but I did notice once you get into the late 90s, there's some better stuff. Ross and the leather pants. You know that episode?
I don't think so.
He accidentally like pastes them on. It's great episode. But the women's stuff especially all feels kind of very current. And with modern shows, like once I was kind of in tune to this stuff and working at Barney's and watching shows like 30 Rock or Parks and Rec, I could pick out the pieces, a lot of them. I'd be like, oh, that's ALC. Like, oh, that's Joie. You know, like, so you knew kind of that wardrobe was shopping contemporary lines. They were shopping at Barney's and Nordstrom and smaller popular designers and that type of thing. A more more current show, even more current show, is this one on NBC called Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, which Laura has watched a few episodes of, and I have secretly enjoyed as well. And it's another one. It's like it's set in a modern setting. It's like people working for a tech company in San Francisco, I want to say. And maybe it's New York, doesn't matter, but like, very, very modern. You can see, like, I'm like, oh, that's a Rag & Bone blazer. Like, you just know that wardrobe is including contemporary brands in this. And so I got to think that they were doing this on Friends especially as well. The wardrobe was shopping at, like, I don't know, Bloomingdale's or something. I just love to know. I wish that there was and maybe Saks, yeah. But I wish that there was something dedicated to like going through all of the old outfits and being like, oh, this T-shirt was this, these pants were this, and whether it was like, it could have been anything. It could have been Delia's, like a mail order catalog that was hot in the 90s, or it might have been a contemporary line that doesn't exist anymore from Bloomingdale's. That's got to be out there on the internet. I don't know. I've not found anything like that. Huh. If you know of anything like that, please DM us at Club Cool Pod on the gram. But that's been a lot of what I'm thinking about, kind of rewatching the show. Is like, man, I wish I knew where they picked up a lot of this stuff for guys and the girls.
The news, this is way off. Local news always at the end of the broadcast will tell you where the wardrobe came from, and it's always. Where do you think I'm going to say?
Joseph A. Banks?
LL Bean.
LL Bean?
LL Bean. What is it? They all have LL Bean shoes on? Or socks?
They always credit LL Bean?
Always. I don't get it.
Huh.
I have to look into that.
Maybe it's like for the field reporters. Maybe the field reporters have like outerwear.
Not all of them.
LL Bean boots.
Yeah.
Thermals. It's not cold here.
I don't know, man.
That's an interesting one. Mm-hmm. Are you picking up on any where the suits? Joseph A. Banks?
No. I always see LL Bean. And
LL Bean?
Then
I don't think LL
Bean's
Bean's
only up there for a half
making suits.
They should. All weather suiting.
Yeah, there are sites for the more current shows that document like, oh, this dress is from where it's like a shop the look type of thing. And there's even one, I can't remember what it's called, but it'll even let you know if what it's listing is like an exact match, like this is the piece, or if it's like similar.
Yeah. Grail does that ever so often with big fits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, they do. But I don't know. I guess maybe I need to do a little bit more research to see if this exists for Friends and Seinfeld. I don't know. Any Friends or Seinfeld looks stick out to you other than Putty's 8-ball jacket?
Well, always the pirate.
The puffy shirt?
The puffy shirt.
Yes.
But
who do you think is
Elaine had some good stuff.
Elaine had great stuff.
Yeah. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, who do you think is like the biggest style icon from the guys for the current moment? Is it Kramer, Jerry, or George?
Kramer. I mean, that one of those sites we just looked at, the one that I was talking about with the foreign currency.
Mm-hmm.
That's Kramer.
The Danish crones.
The short tops that button all the way down. Very cropped. With
very vintage. Yeah.
With some jeans or some polyester. He had tons of polyester, big collars.
Yes. Yeah.
Kramer was on trend.
Yeah. I think you're probably right. I think pound for pound, like pulling the outfit into modern times from Seinfeld, Kramer probably has the most the most on trend fits.
He had like some black and white checkerboard stuff ever so often.
George is very normcore, very big normcore guy though. George is like wearing some LL Bean outerwear and
Gore-Tex
and some New Balance.
Yeah,
Gore-Tex. Yeah,
New Balance. So Jerry, those white New Balance, those never really crossed in. They got left behind.
Jerry almost exclusively wears Nikes.
Nikes, okay.
Yeah,
those were dad shoes to another level. The all whites.
Yeah, the all whites. Yeah.
But
he over the years he wore like, I think he's been in the Agassiz, like the tech challenge.
You know what's really disappointing is watching him on Comedians in cars getting coffee, he wears Nike Shocks.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the thing is they each kind of have their lane.
Look at Kramer right here in the green shirt.
Yeah, that correlates to today. Like Jerry is your most streetwear savvy with the Levi's and the Nikes. George got your normcore going on, and then Kramer is like your more eclectic, like fashion guy,
right?
And with lots of vintage. Let's see. Here's this one. There's the brown suede jacket that Jerry gets. That's pretty hot.
Yeah,
that he ruins in the rain.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of great style moments. This one, Seinfeld has not been getting rerun as often as it was when we were growing up.
Yeah, it's more The Office now.
The Office is everywhere. That has definitely supplanted it. And then Nickelodeon is like all Friends all the time. But I believe that Seinfeld is all. You know, I'm just like I'm a child of the times, right? Like I like putting these reruns on the channel.
Don't have to search for it.
So I don't have to search for it, and then it just plays, and I get the droll of commercials as well.
Let it play.
And I just like that.
Yeah.
And so even though I know this might be available on Hulu, it's not the same. Going to like, oh, what episode should I pick? No, I just want
I don't want
to me randomly. Yeah.
That's another thing. Somebody said either on a podcast or something about how Netflix should have a random.
Oh, absolutely.
Was that you?
I may have brought that up, but I didn't come up with that idea.
Why don't they have that?
But it's shocking that they have not implemented that.
You pick a show, you pick a season, and then hit random.
Yes. Yeah. Or even not a season. How about just a show?
Right.
Random.
Randy, you can come up with something like that. Yeah. Randy's silent.
Yeah. Yeah. You know who Seinfeld is a muse for? Bodie.
Kramer.
Yeah, Kramer. That's Kramer. That's what I meant.
Yes.
Kramer he's a Bodie muse.
Mm-hmm.
He'd look great in that stuff. So that's a precursor to the North Face Nupsy jacket. All right, man. We can wrap it up there. That's about all the time that we have for today. Thank you to today's sponsor, Headspace. Please go check out the app. You can get that free month at headspace.com/clubcool. You can support the podcast by following us on Instagram at clubcoolpod or hitting us up, patreon.com/clubcool. We have a new editorial, our best stuff of the month, out today. Obviously, we'll refresh that Discord link for you here at some point soon. And hit us up. Questions, comments, thoughts going into 2021. We're here. We're ready for it. And hopefully we'll have some news about some guests coming up soon as well that I'm looking forward to. Phil, any closing thoughts for us today?
Did you put out the hotline?
What do you mean? Did I put it out?
Did you already give the number out?
I haven't given it out. I haven't given it out.
Gived it out.
I'll give it out. It's 833 Club Coo.
Coo, not cool. Coo.
Coo.
Call us.
You can add the L on there. That's the thing about phone numbers. They'll let you go
and
as many digits as you want, and it'll just dial the first 7. But if you don't want that extracurricular number on there, that extraneous digit, the unnecessary one, then it's 833 Club Coo.
Call
us.
Call now.
There are some hotlines, or there are some hotline calls in the bank right now.
Okay. All right.
But we'd love to have more. We'd love to hear from you.
Can never have too many.
That will wrap it up for us today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening, and we will be back next week.
See you.